In this segment, Stephanie Miller welcomes attorney and podcaster Allison Gill to the program. Together, the two take a deep dive into Jack Smith's target letter to Trump and what might happen next. Here's Stephanie.
I said to you off air, I'm like, happy indictment day. And then you were like, week, year, month, year. Yeah. Yes. All of the above. Yeah, we just had Glenn Kirshner on, of course, and we don't, our shared superhero. And who knows, right? Like last week, we thought, and I was saying Neil Katyal was technically right that he said it was going to be last week, but we didn't think it was going to be the superseding indictment. We thought it was going to be J6. And now you've got Fani Willis saying, I'm ready to go. The barricades are already up. So, who knows? What's your bet? What are your beans on what's next?
What?
If
Her
I'm
beans.
Fani Willis,
she will bet you beans.
I know.
If I'm Fani Willis, I want the DOJ to go first here because they could provide predicate crimes under RICO for her to charge, because when you do RICO, you've got underlying crimes, sort of like in Manhattan when you have falsification of business records, you have to have underlying crimes to make it a felony,
right?
From a misdemeanor. So RICO requires some predicate crimes, and Jack Smith could give her a bunch.
Right. We're taking a moment to say
RICO.
Suave.
Just every time you say that.
And you don't have to have them charged by someone else, but it sure is nice.
Yeah. No, exactly. Well, exactly. But I'm looking at what she had said specifically between July 31st, which is today, and the end of August. She announced charges, and then obviously, when was that? Yesterday, Jody? She said to CNN, we're ready to go, and obviously that and the barricades going up. Glenn seems to think it's more tied to the August 7th that she told the judges to clear their calendars for. That actual indictments.
I believe the court is on a bit of a break this week.
Right.
I think they have a retreat or something. So arraignments couldn't happen.
Retreats? There's no retreats. There's no summer camp in Justice. Get back here.
It's Justice Camp. What happens at Justice Camp stays. No, that actually sounds fun. Let's do a Justice Camp.
Let's do it. Glenn Kirshner would be our favorite counselor.
We'll have handcuffs, learning how to use. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
What?
Yeah. No, I think that you could have indictments this week, and then because the judges really only need to be there for the arraignment. The court is there for the arraignments, right? Right. I mean, the grand jury is meeting there, but you really only need the judges to arraign people.
You know what? Let's ask Marie, our favorite prosecutor in Atlanta, until Fani Willis is available. Hello, Marie.
Hello. Thanks for taking my call, Allison. It is so good to hear you. And I totally agree with everything you said.
I know. Oh my God, Dahlia Litwick just retweeted that Allison is going to be on the show.
I know.
Oh my God, everyone loves Allison. She's like a star magnet. Okay, go ahead.
So I wanted to bring up the IT guy who said that he felt like he didn't have the right to delete the audio.
Video
from an IT brain. Understand, just like all of us have at our homes where we can delete things or we can modify things on our home systems, but when we go to work, right, we don't have the rights, literally the IT rights. So that's what he may have meant, as opposed to
that's exactly what he meant. He didn't have the administrative rights, and that's why there were then text messages to the Calamaris at the Trump organization, who do have the rights, the administrative rights to do that. So he's not.
So wait, there were shush emojis and squid emojis. This is fantastic.
Yeah, I have a feeling that if that IT guy could erase the tapes, he might have. I don't think he's like an altruistic fella who doesn't think he has the right to do it. I think he just doesn't have the password to do it.
There you go. Marie, what legal weight does a shush emoji have for an obstruction charge?
Well, considering right now the question of whether a multi-million-dollar contract could be sealed with a thumbs-up emoji, I'm thinking emojis are becoming more important than most people think.
Yeah, exactly. All right, honey. Thank you. Let's go to Sue in Rockville. You're on with Allison. Hi, Sue.
Hi, good morning, and hello, Allison. It is always a pleasure. I'm so glad when you're on. You just give us great information.
Me too. My God, it's so great for the whole hour. Okay, go ahead.
Now, listen, I don't want to spend a lot of time waiting and hoping. I want to start a pool. how many felony counts are we going to end up with? 74 already exceeded my poll. I need to start a new one. How many felony counts? How many sexual assault accusers? How many bankruptcies? How many hush money payments? How many impeachments? How many divorces? How many arrests? And we should have some good fun guessing rather than just sitting around waiting.
How many justice angels can dance on the head of a pin? Is that what you're saying?
I just want to show those 6 bar kids that there is a thing called the rule of law and that justice applies equally to everybody before I leave this planet.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's too much to ask.
It is not. It is not. Yeah. So, Allison, let's look at the 2 latest things we just talked to Glenn about. Obviously, Lucy McLoserton from Losertown on a bit of a losing streak. Judge rejects Trump's bid to upend Georgia probe. Trump had asked that another Fulton judge quash the final report of the special grand jury, which recommended indictments, that Willis be recused from pursuing the case and McBurney be sidelined. Everything he's tried recently in court that he usually tries, right, for stalling or whatever reason, is failing, right?
Yeah, he loses everything all the time. They tossed out his CNN lawsuit recently, too.
Yes.
Won't let the Manhattan go to the federal court. And
we can compare him to Hitler. That's just so it's stipulated. Yes. Yeah, go ahead.
And won't retry the E. Jean Carroll 2 case, with E. Jean Carroll still on the books in January, E. Jean Carroll 1. I think that, first of all, I was a little confused because I thought that the chief judge in the 4th district where McBurney sits recused the entire bench from hearing this motion and moved it to Cobb County, and there was a hearing on August 10th. But no, that was just for the mandamus motion that was filed. And then in a footnote here in this new ruling, that also moots McBurney's scathing ruling, moots that mandamus hearing. So I don't think there will be one now on August 10th. I think the runway is completely open now.
Interesting. Okay. And so obviously we've been talking about Taveras as the Mar-a-Lago employee who oversees the surveillance cameras received a target letter, we were learning, after Trump was indicted. He also met with investigators. We just talked to Glenn about this. It's unclear whether Taveras is cooperating with prosecutors. Unlike Walt Nauta and what co-defendant Carlos Oliveira, Taveras is not currently facing charges in the documents case, despite being informed he's a target. So I think Glenn's speculation is he is likely cooperating. What do you think?
Yeah, I think he's at least partially cooperating because he changed lawyers
right
after he got his target letter, because he had Stanley Woodward, who represents everybody and their cousin, but also represents Walt Nauta. And you can't have a lawyer represent 2 people with different stories.
Right.
So you have to get a new lawyer if you're flipping or at least partially cooperating. But CNN came out with some reporting last night that said he did go in and change his BS story a little bit after he got that target letter.
Yeah.
So that's
Glenn said it has a way of,
changing your mind,
right? Yeah, kind of bracing like a nice cold
10
shower.
10 years in prison,
An
probably
indictment
next
is
to Donald Trump would make me think twice.
It's a clarifying moment for you. Yeah. I loved your tweets. You said, so which is it? Are we indicting Trump to make his numbers go up to ensure he's the nominee because he's so easy to beat, or are we indicting Trump to interfere in the election and stop him from being the nominee? And you said Trump's candidacy is interfering with Jack Smith's investigation. Yeah, I mean, all I can think now is when I see the latest numbers this morning, Allison, that his numbers do tend to seem to go up when he gets indicted again. I'm just like, okay, they're just, wow, these lemmings are going right off the cliff with him. Like, good. They're just as dumb as I thought they were, I guess.
Mm-hmm, yeah, and that solidification is going to make it real hard for some Republican dark horse like a Liz Cheney or a Brian Kemp to come in and swoop up his followers, right?
Right.
They're really digging in their heels now. After 3, 4, 5 indictments, right?
Yeah.